Welcome, everybody, to General Chemistry 2. My name is Patrick Lloyd, and I am the lecture instructor for this course this summer. Welcome aboard. I hope that you have a great summer and are able to knock out a great course in chemistry. I am going to be the instructor for the lecture. Your laboratory instructor is Carrie Ann McKenzie, so make sure that you're following along with her instructions for the laboratory, both on Brightspace and by email. Okay. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to do a brief overview of the syllabus, which is in a sense a brief overview of the course. This is an asynchronous course, so we will not be meeting in person. Everything will be essentially self-paced. And you'll have, until the first week of August to finish everything up. So let me go over what we have in here. If you want to get in touch with me, I do have several communication apps that you can text me on. The phone number is given here with WhatsApp, Signal, and Telegram. I also have an email address right here, ployd@kbcc.cuny.edu. And I will have regular office hours. If you want to have an in-person on Zoom meeting or in-person on campus meeting, I will be around on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'll put the specific times in an announcement. Okay. Um, if you do want to meet me on Zoom, the meeting ID it's right here, 761-534-4943, and then the password is just meet. And actually, now that I look at it, I actually do have the times in here. So Tuesdays and Thursdays, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Those are my regular office hours during the summer. Okay. The grading is based on work that you'll do using a online learning system called ALEKS, ALEKS. Both homework and exams will be on the ALEKS, and most likely your laboratory instructor will put what are called virtual labs on her course for her laboratory course as well. Okay. But again, be in touch with her on that. So what we're going to do is we're going to do homework and exams for several different chapters out of a textbook. And we'll talk a little bit about the textbook as well. So the chapters are 14, which is kinetics. So that'll be the first topic that you cover. There are 15 homework problems that you have to work through on that one. Notice the very late due date. This course ends the first week of August, I believe August 4th. So the due date for the first one is July 27th, but be very careful. This is on you to make sure that you can pace yourself through this course. My advice would be to get each chapter done one a week. Okay. So the first one you would really want to have done by, let's say, June 30th at the latest. And then the second one, chapter 15, you'd want to have done July 7th, and then July 14, July 21, July 28, because you're going to run out of time pretty quickly. This is only really 6 weeks to take this course. There's no break during the time period. So you're really going to have to pace yourself at really a little bit more than one chapter per week. Okay. So there are due dates that's built into the ALEKS system. So you'll see that chapter 14 kinetics is due on July 27th. If you haven't finished the first one by July 27th, you won't finish the course anyways. But again, you want to finish that by, you know, certainly before the end of June, but probably by like June 25th, June 26th, just to give yourself some headway. Okay. And then just keep working through it. Go on to the next one, go on to the next one. Now, technically speaking, I have had people finish the course in 3 weeks. So it is possible to do that if you put in the time to do it. So then the second one, once that first one is over, is chapter 15, which is chemical equilibrium, and that is due July 28th. And then the next one is chapter 16, acids and bases, July 29th, and then so forth and so on. The last one in here is chapter 23, organic chemistry. That one is an extra credit assignment. You are not required to do that one as part of your grade, but you'll get extra credit if you do it. Okay. And then what'll happen is July 4th, I'm July 4th, sorry, August 4th, at the end of the August 4th, I'll put the grades up onto not Brightspace, sorry, onto CUNY first, and they appear pretty much immediately. So you'll check your grades on CUNY first. Okay. The next thing is the exams. So many of the chapters 14 through 19, they each have an exam. It's a short exam. It's actually only 4 or 5 questions, and you have about 20 to 25 minutes to do them. Again, the due dates, notice these due dates, they're all August 3rd. That's at the end of the semester, so you can take them later if you want to. My advice would be to take the exams when you finish the homework assignment, finish 14, and then within 24 hours of finishing that assignment, take the exam. So again, even though these due dates are rather late, August 3rd, you want to do them much earlier than that and pace yourself. I would make a calendar, set yourself with a program for the next 6 weeks, definite timeline to get everything done. Okay? The grading is based on these homework assignments. The homework assignments are actually called modules. So you can always calculate your grade, but Alex will calculate it for you. You can just go to the grade thing on Alex and the grade page, and it'll tell you what your grades are. But this is how it's being graded: 25% laboratory, 15% for the exams, and then 60% for the average of your homework assignments. Okay. Grading is based on percentages. So we'll just take your final percentage. If it's between 88 and 100, you get an A. If it's between 75 and 87, you get a B. If it's between 50 and 74, you get a C. And then below 50% is an F. Okay. Again, check your grades, make sure you're keeping up with the course. So these are the things that you need for the course. You're going to need obviously technology, computer, laptop, that sort of thing in order to access the online learning system, which is Alex. It is a technical program. You probably want to use Google Chrome with it. And the virtual labs are a little bit more demanding in terms of how the technology works out. So when you register for Alex and get into the course, test out the virtual lab pretty quickly, make sure it's working. There is a 1-800 number you can contact for McGraw-Hill, who runs Alex, and that number it's further down in the syllabus. Okay, you'll need to purchase the Alex. The best way, I think, is to go directly through them. If you've purchased it within the last year, you should still probably have some access time left. And if you haven't, then you'll just need to purchase it. Okay. Um, Moving on to some of the details about Alex. To be in this course on Alex, you need what's called the class code, and that's right here. This is the 10-digit letters and numbers. Okay, so you'll want to copy and paste that from the syllabus into the Alex course code and class code, and then that'll get you in. Make sure you're in the right one. It should say essentially general chemistry. If it says general chemistry, Patrick Lloyd, and the dates are like June of 25 to August of 25, that means you're in the right course. Okay. Um, let's see. If you haven't purchased it before and you do need to purchase it, but you need a little bit of time, up to 2 weeks, there is what's called a financial aid access code. That's this 20-digit code right here. If you type that in to the purchase code on Alex, that will give you up to 2 weeks to access software until you can come up with the money that you need to purchase the software for the course. So just to let you know, this is not a zero cost course. There is actually a software program that you need to purchase for this course. Okay, the textbook that comes with it is called Chemistry by Julia Bird. She's the author. It's a physical book, but you're just going to get the ebook with the Alex purchase. You can find older versions of it if you want to buy a physical copy. Just go on bookfinder.com. Actually, I put the website up here. I skipped over it, but I did put that up here. Bookfinder.com, that website right there, you'll be able to find older versions and you can buy them pretty cheap. Textbooks are not that expensive anymore unless you buy a brand new one. The brand new ones are very expensive, but old used ones are not. Okay. Again, the topics that we're going to cover, Alex actually sets it up so the topics we're covering are based on the ebook. So Burge is the ebook. So we're going to cover kinetics first. Chapter 14 is kinetics. And then we'll do chapter 15, chemical equilibrium. And then we'll do 16, which is acids and bases, and so forth and so on. So it's a summary. That's a summary of the different topics we're going to cover. It's a lot of chemical equilibrium. These are topics that are really designed to help people that go into biochemistry or into chemistry or into chemical engineering. Um, if you're a biology major, some of the topics in here are pretty useful. Um, if you're doing physician assistant, generally you want to have a lot of chemistry background, so that kind of thing as well. Obviously, pre-med, these are important topics. Um, any of the professional exams like pharmacy or medical or dental are going to ask a lot of chemistry questions. And so that's what this course, is connected to for those of you who are doing that. Now, to support you through the course, because we're not meeting, obviously, you can use the ebook. Obviously, you can like use some online access, whatever, watch videos and stuff. So there are videos that I've set up for this course. Each chapter has several of them. They're organized so-so, like some of them are showing you how to do Alex problems, which you'll probably want to look at those. Some of them discuss the textbook, the ebook. So they're just discussion of, give you some theoretical background, right? Because you're not just problem solving in this course, you're trying to understand chemistry. So each one here, chapter 14 through chapter 20, I don't have any videos yet for 23, but I'll start putting them up during the summer. So you'll have them before the end of the course. It's again, you're going to see a set of videos on there. So the links are all right there. I will probably be adding videos as we go through as well, because some of them are a little bit dated, some of them are a little bit long. But I want to give you, the support that you need and deserve for these problems. Okay. So just a little bit about the ALEX, because that's going to be where you're going to be submitting your homework and you're going to be submitting your exam work is going to be on ALEX. The terminology modules is essentially a module is like a chapter of homework problems. So it's an assignment, but they don't call it an assignment in ALEX. A topic is a particular type of homework problem. So let's say you're calculating the number of moles out of mass. That would be a topic. There are, explanations in the ALEX. At the bottom, you'll see a little click for you can have an explanation. Their explanations are, they're okay. Some of them are better than others, but it's something you can access. So you have the ebook if you want to read. You have the explanation on ALEX. You have my videos. Certainly, you can look for other videos, and you can use, AI can kind of help you understand, have conversation with it over certain topics. It's a lot to demand. This is a very demanding course. If you just try to do the basic and just get the homework problems but not understand anything, you might be able to get through the course, but you won't really know any chemistry. You really have to kind of dig into the information, try to learn some of these topics by watching videos, learning kind of the terminology that we're using, and putting it all together. It's a lot, but that's what you have to do in the sciences. Okay. There is something called a pie progress, which is just it's a graphical representation of how many topics you've covered. So once the course is over, you should actually have completed all of the topics, so your pie would be complete. Okay. Again, with the exams, there's 6 of them, and they're not very long exams. They're just a few problems. They're based on the homework problems on Alex. And they have, the due date is August 3rd for all of those, which is, just a day before the course ends anyways. There are also practice exams, and you'll see them on the assignments list for Alex. The practice exams are by no means required. They are just merely there to give you some extra problems to try on your own. I believe I have them open throughout the entire course, so you can do them anytime you want to. When you do take the exam, the ebook is not available, just so you know that. There is no specific final exam for the course. Exam 6 is the last exam. So there will be one exam essentially on each chapter up through chapter 19. Okay. In terms of the ebook, if you go more deeply into the ebook, there are lots of sample problems you can work on. Some of my videos are on these sample problems. There are end of chapter problems you can try. So this page right here shows you some of those end of chapter problems that you can try. And then here are some resources. Again, that you're doing this in a synchronous course, so you won't have a lot of physical contact or geographic contact with the instructor. So here's some of the numbers and contact information. One to bring up to you that's really important is the Alex support. If you have any technical problems, they can help you the best. So it's a 1-800 number. They're not 24/7, but they do have a certain number of hours each day. So you click on the link and see what hours they have. They do chatting, but they also do phone. And I find, that it's best to do phone, just talk to them when you can, particularly with the virtual labs, because the virtual labs are sort of a recent development technologically. And so they do have a little bit more requirements in terms of your hardware. So you really want to check out the hardware that you have at home at the beginning of the semester to see whether this is viable, right? To see whether you have the technology to be able to do these virtual labs and do the homework assignments and all of that, and get all that worked out before the first day of courses. The first day of courses technically is Monday, this coming up Monday, the 23rd, I think it is. Monday, June 23rd. But you want to start checking this stuff out before then if you can. Okay. It's a self-paced course, but once August 4th comes in, the course is over, the Alex will shut down, and whatever you have completed will get graded at that point, and you'll get an assignment and a grade based on that. So again, it's going to take a lot of, well, for some people, it will take a lot of discipline, self-discipline. Some people already have that, obviously. Others, you're developing that. So make sure you're staying up on those dates. Okay. The last page here just has some learning outcomes and a couple of frequently asked questions. Okay. So I look forward to interacting with you. We won't see each other in person, but maybe we'll do an office hour or two together. I should also make a couple comments. There is tutoring available at the library, at the Kingsborough Library. So that's you go to the Kingsborough Library website and you'll find the Learning Center, and they have remote, not asynchronous, but they have Zoom type set up to where you can do tutoring to get some help. I do recommend getting as much help, yeah, unless you are really a chemistry expert, I recommend getting as much help as you can. It's an important course for most of you. And for some of you, this is the last course you need before you graduate. So you definitely want to do well in this course. Okay. So good luck. I hope to hear from you, and feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions or concerns. And we'll have a great semester, a great summer. Take care.